Hello and welcome you to Mohan Sir's classes. In this clip, we'll learn about Geography's first chapter, Research and Development, Part 2. Natural resources. Natural resources are resources in whose creation human do not play a role. Human only extract resources from their natural setting. For example, the wood we collect from the forest is natural resource, but the cotton we grow in fields is not. Similarly, the iron ore we mine is a natural resource, but the steel we make from it is not. So, what are natural resources? Natural resources are resources in which creation humans do not play a role. That means in the creation of the natural resource or in making of natural resource, you human being do not play a role. Listen carefully, human only extract resource from their natural setting. Human being only extract resource from the natural setting. Next, for example, the wood we collect from the forest is natural resource. Listen, the wood we collect from the forest is natural resource, but cotton we grow in the field is not. As we are growing cotton in the field, it is not a natural resource. Similarly, iron ore we mine is natural resource. That means we extract the iron from the iron ore, that is natural resource, but the steel we make from it is not natural resource. So in this paragraph we will learn that for creation of this natural resource human being do not play any role. Only we do is that we extract the natural resource from its setting. For example is that wood we collect from the forest is natural resource, but the cotton we grow in the field is not a natural resource. Similarly, iron ore we mine is natural resource, but the steel we make from it is not a natural resource. Next paragraph. Natural resources are classified in different ways. Resources are derived from living things such as wood, fish, etc. are called organic resources. Listen carefully. Natural resources are classified in different ways. Natural resources are classified in different ways. What are that? It says that resources derived from living things such as wood, fish, etc. are called what? Organic resources. Listen carefully. The resources which you are obtaining from the living things, those are called what? Organic resource. Next, coal and mineral oil. Coal and mineral oil also belongs to the category because they are fossil living beings. Coal and oil also are part of this organic resource. Next, non-living physical resources such as land, air, water, metallic mineral, etc. belong to the category of inorganic resources. That means all these non-living physical resources are called what? Inorganic resources. What are that? Like land, air, water and other things. So in this paragraph we will learn that natural resources are classified into two categories. That those are organic resource and inorganic resource. So which are the organic resource? That means the resource we are deriving or extracting from the living thing such as wood, fish, etc. These are called what? Organic resource. Sometimes this coal or mineral oil also called what? Organic resource. Next, non-living physical resource such as land, air, water, etc. These are called what? Inorganic resources. Next paragraph. We can also classify resources according to whether they are replenished in nature or not. Resources that replenish naturally are renewable resources. Resources that are available in finite quantities and do not replenish easily are non-renewable resources. Next paragraph, listen carefully. We can also classify resources according to whether they are replenished in nature or not. That means resources also can be classified into two categories in some other way. How? That means either replenish in nature or not. What is replenish? That means they can renew, okay, they can be regained or not. According to that it also classified. What are that? Renewable resource and non-renewable resource. So what is renewable resource? That means once it is finished, it can be what? Regenerate or renew. Such kinds of resources are called what? Renewable resource. Example like a forest, air, etc. Next, the resource, okay, which cannot be renew or regenerate once it is finished, those are called what? Non-renewable resource like coal, oil, etc. So first of all, let's talk about renewable resource. They replenish by natural process. This renewable resource, okay, they replenish by natural process. That means once they finish, again it regenerate by natural way. They are always present on earth, for example air, water, forest, animal, etc. So these are the natural resource. Not only these are, okay, there are many more. So they are always present on the earth. If humans do not interfere in their renewable process and utilize them carefully, they will be constantly available. That means if the human being, if you are not interfering in their natural process or renewable process, then it will be available constantly for the lifelong. However, there is a limit to their utilization, but there is a limitation for utilizing those natural resources. Exceeding this limit or spoiling the resource leads to their degradation and it affects their renewal. But if you are misusing or using excess or spoiling them, then it will what? Affects their renewal. So what are renewable resources? That means they are renewed by natural process. They are always present on earth. Example like air, water, forest, animals, etc. If human beings are not interfering in the renewal process, then we can utilize them constantly for lifelong. But on same time, they are also what? Limited. They are also limited. We have to use them with limitation. But if you are crossing the limitation, you are misusing them, then it will affect their renewal process. Let's see some example. Water always available on earth. Water evaporates from the oceans and condenses as rainfall. We know that water is always available on earth. Water evaporates from the seas and oceans and from the river also, and it condenses as a rainfall, or it is fall as a rainfall. Some of this rainfall seeps into the earth to replenish the underground. So when we receive the rainfall or when rain falls, some of the rain, what happen? It seeps into underground. That means it goes to underground and it regain or recharge the groundwater. The rest of flows into rivers and stream to reach the oceans. Rest of the water, what happen? They flow to the rivers and stream. At last they reach to where? To the oceans. This endless cycles renews water. This process, okay, what happen? It renew the waters. However, obstacles in the process disrupt the water cycle. But if there is any hindrance or difficulties, then what happen? This water cycle will be what? Face the problem. For example, depletion of forest cover result in less water seeping into the earth. That means if you are destroying the forest, then what happen? Less number of water goes underground. This affect the recharge of groundwater. Because of that, what happen? It affect the recharge of the groundwater. Next, the depletion of groundwater causes dig wells and borewells well to dry up. Because of depletion of groundwater, we have to dig well and borewell into a you have to dig well and borewell for deep and deeper. So in this paragraph we will learn that water is available on earth and we know the water cycle process. How water evaporates from the seas, oceans, rivers, then it falls as a rainfall. When it causes rain, some of the rainwater it seeps or it goes underground and it increases the groundwater level or it reaches the groundwater. The rest of the water, the rainwater, flows into the rivers and stream and reach to oceans. So this endless cycle renew water. So this process what happen? It is increase the or it renews the water. But if there is any kinds of problem or obstacles during this process, then this water cycle will be what happen? Stop or it will cause to water cycle. For example, we know that if the quantity of forest decrease, then the less quantity of the water will be go underground. Why? Because if the forests are available, then when the rain falls, the forest helps to control the flowing of water and the large number of water goes underground. But when there is no forest or because of the depletion of forest, what happen? Maximum water flow to the rivers and stream at last reach to the ocean water. Because of that reason, what happen? The groundwater amount of groundwater decrease, and as the amount of groundwater decrease, then we dig numbers and make more well and borewell to extract groundwater. Next paragraph, we release polluted water into our rivers. We know that we are releasing polluted water into our rivers. In the previous paragraph or in the part 1, I have told you that industry and factory, they are releasing what happened, polluted water into the rivers. We can show in this picture also. If the volume of polluted water is limited, then the organism living in the flowing water have the capacity to clean up the pollution. That means if we are releasing limited amount of polluted water into the flowing water, that means either to oceans or river, then what happen? Within this water there are many organisms who clean the water. They can easily clean the polluted water. Listen carefully. Industry, factories and we from house we release the waste and polluted water into the rivers, streams and oceans. But what happen when if we are releasing less amount of polluted water into the rivers and oceans, what happen? There are some living organism, they can clean the polluted water easily. But it says that however, if we release excessive quantity of waste into our rivers nowadays, but what happened nowadays, we are using what more and more waste water we are releasing to rivers nowadays. So when we are releasing more wastewater or polluted water into rivers, oceans or the like a stream, the organism which are available in the water for cleaning the water, their capacity they lost and they can't clean the water properly. Listen carefully. Dams and irrigation canals also reduce the flow of water in rivers. When the rivers are unable to clean themselves, they turn into cesspools. This is called what? Cesspool. That means, as I told that when we are releasing more amount of this polluted water into rivers and canals or into lakes, so the organism which are available in the water for cleaning, so they are unable to clean them properly or their capacity, don't have that much capacity to clean this polluted water. That's why the river and pond turn into what happen? Cesspools. That means you see the condition of the water in the well. We need to find out other use for this waste if we wish to arrest this pollution. That means if you want to control this pollution, we have to find out the alternative solution. Let me give the recap of this paragraph. Industry, factory and we release polluted water into the rivers. So if you are releasing less amount of polluted water into rivers, then there are some organisms, they clean the polluted water. But if we are releasing more amount of polluted water into the river, the organisms which are present in the water or the rivers, they can't clean the water properly. So when they can't clean the water properly, then the rivers and ponds turn into seepools. What is seepools? That means this one. That they can't clean the water. That's why we have to find out the alternative solution to release this polluted water. Next paragraph. For example, we can compost waste and recycle wastewater for use in gardens, etc. That means we can compost waste and recycle wastewater, and that can be used in the gardens. We need to reuse and recycle industrial waste. The industrial waste we can reuse and recycle. We need to increase the volume of water in rivers to ensure that they do not die. That means we need to ensure that the quantity of water which are discharging into river, that the organism which are present, it should not die. Next, we need to maintain the process of water renewal by preventing disruption in natural water cycle. That means in natural water cycle, if there is any obstacle hindrance, we have to protect that one. Hence, it is important to keep the renewable cycle of resources in mind if you wish to use them judiciously. That means if we have to keep in mind that if you want to use the water properly, or if you want to reuse the water, then we have to maintain the renewable cycle of waters, and we have to use them judiciously or ethically. Resource must renew naturally. That means all the resource must be renewed naturally. Similarly, we should use groundwater only to the extent that it reaches naturally. That means as we are using groundwater, we have to use in a limitation that as much the groundwater reaches naturally. Otherwise, the water table will fall. If you don't use properly the groundwater, then the groundwater level will fall. So in this paragraph we will learn that we can use compost waste and recycle wastewater for using in the garden. Next, we need to reuse and recycle the industrial waste. Next, we need to increase the volume of water in river to ensure that they do not die. That means in water there are many organisms who clean the water, so we need to ensure that they should not die. Next, we need to also maintain the natural process of water cycle. That means example as we talk about paragraph that if the forest depletion take place, the less number of water seeps underground. That's why this is the process that we have to maintain all these things, then there will be no problem in the water cycle. Next, resource must be renewed naturally. All the resource must be renewed naturally. Next, we have to use the groundwater properly according to its natural recharge. Otherwise, the water quantity will decrease. Next is non-renewable resource. These resources such as iron ore, coal, mineral oil, etc. are available in limited quantities. So, non-renewable resource, what are that? Like iron ore, coal, mineral oil, etc. They are available in a limited quantities. The natural stock depletes the more we utilize them because they do not renew themselves. That means the natural stock of this non-renewable resource decrease. Why? Because they don't renew by themselves, or they can't be renewed. For example, metallic ore deposits deplete after mining and extracting the metal from them. That means in a place where this metallic ores are available or metal is available, as you are extracting or digging out them, so one day it will finish. We then have to look for a new ore deposit. Thereafter again what happen? We have to go for a new area, or we have to find out a new ore or new mine. A day will come when we exhaust all the available deposits. What happen? A day will come, all the available minerals will be complete or finished. Even today many mines have been shut down after exhausting their stock. Not only future, if we talk about at present, there are many mines and ore, it is already shut down. Why? Because the minerals which were available there, it is now complete or finished. One such example is the Dali Raja Rao iron ore mines in Chhattisgarh. So one such example is what? Delhi Raja Rao iron ore in Chhattisgarh is now almost going to finish. So in this paragraph we will learn that non-renewable resource, example like iron ore, coal, mineral oil, etc. So these are the minerals available in the limited quantities. So if the natural stock will be finished, then they can't be renewed by themselves. Example, in a place where this metallic ore is deposited, if we are extracting and the metallic ore is or the metal is completely finished from there, we can't renew for them. Then what we have to do? We have to go to other place for find out a new mine or new metallic ore. So all this metal or this non-renewable resource, one day it will finish. It will not only finish in future. Nowadays what happened, there are many mines have been shut down because of the finish of because the mines or the minerals have been finished from that ore. One of the such example is Delhi Raja Rao in iron ore of Chhattisgarh. Look at this table, mineral oil reserves. Here I have mentioned two places or the two country. One is what? Middle East or West Asia, other is what happened? United States of America. So in West Asia, the available of the oil resources is how much? It is 809 million barrels, and it can be last for how many years? For 79 years. Next, if you talk about USA, 44 million barrels or lakhs million barrels, 1000 million barrels are available. It can last for 12 years. But you talk about the world's mineral oils, how much it available? 1688,000 million barrels. It can last for 53 years. So this table depicts the proven global reserves of crude oil or natural oil. How many years will be these reserves last if global consumption of crude oil continues at the current rate? That means if you are using continuously or misusing according to the current year or the present rate, how many years it will last? They will exhaust it within 53 years. It will complete or finish within 53 years. India depends on crude or natural oil imports because the country doesn't have adequate proven reserves. That means our country India, it depends what? Importing oil from the other country. Why? Because we don't have the adequate or proper proven reserves. As the global stock depletes, price of oil will accelerate. That means if the natural or this or natural resources will be depletes or the oil will be decreased in the global stock, then what happen? The price of oil will be what? Increase all over the world. Next paragraph. India and its citizens will have to bear the burden of higher prices as the global level of oils decrease, and we know that our country don't have the sufficient amount of the oil reserves. That's why we're importing from other country. So the global level of the oil reserves decrease or depletion or depleted, then India and its citizens will have to bear the burden of higher price, because as we are importing from other country, we have to pay a high price for purchasing the oils. The sensible thing to do is to reduce consumption, use oil where necessary, and look for alternative energy resources. So to overcome this problem is that we have to use this oil when it is needed or necessary. We should not misuse. That means we have to reduce the consumption of the oil, or we have to find out the alternative energy. To find out the alternative energy source. For example, we could increase production of solar and wind energy to reduce our dependence on mineral oil. As we are depending on the mineral oil, we can reduce that one, and we can depend on where? Solar and wind energy. Next, the developed nations are not concerned about the needs of developing nation, but want to control global oil reserves to protect their own interest and ensure they do not face any shortage. In this line it is says that, or in this sentence it is said that the developed nations are not concerned about the needs of developing nations. We know that there are developed nations and there are developing nations, and also what, there are underdeveloped nations. So the developed nations, they never think or concerned about the needs of developing nations. That means India is a what, developing country, and want to control global oil reserves to protect their own interest. That means these developed nations, they control the global reserves to protect their own interest and ensure they do not face any shortage, and they always ensure that they will not face any shortage. So in this paragraph we will learn that as India is a country which is importing this mineral oils from other country, so if the global level of the oil resource will be depleted, then India and citizens will have to bear the burden of higher up price. That's why the sensible things what we have to do is that we have to reduce up using this mineral oil, and we have to use when it is necessary. In same time we have to find out the alternative energy resource. For example, in place of what, mineral oil, we can use solar energy and wind energy. Next sentence says that the developed nations, they never concern about the developing nations. This developed nation, they control the global oil reserves to protect their own interest, and they ensure themselves that they should not face any shortage of oil in future. Next paragraph, the United States of America doesn't have adequate oil reserves to meet its domestic consumption, so it uses its economic and military might to gain control of the oil reserves of other countries. So when we talk about the USA or United States of America, they do not have the sufficient amount of the oil reserves for their domestic consumption or domestic use. So in what way they get it? It uses its economic and military might gain to control of the oil reserves of other countries. Because of that reason, what happened? They use their economic and military might power to control the oil reserve from other countries. This policy has led to wars that have caused large-scale destruction and brought misery to millions of people. Because of this reason, what happened? There has been wars and it caused what? Destruction of millions of people. So in this paragraph we will learn that USA doesn't have any sufficient or adequate amount of oil reserves, that's for their domestic consumption. That's why they use their economic and military might to control the oil reserve of other countries. Because of this policy, what happened? It led to cause many war and that destruction and brought misery to millions of people. Because of this war, millions of people lost their life and destruction took place. Next paragraph, some non-renewable resources can be recycled. There are some non-renewable resources that can be recycled. For example, if you use bauxite for produce aluminium and aluminium utensils, we cannot renew our bauxite deposit, but we can recycle the aluminium of all utensils by melting and reusing it. So in this paragraph it is says that some renewable resources can be recycled. There are some non-renewable resources that can be recycled. For example, we use bauxite to produce aluminium, and aluminium we use for what? Making utensils. So we cannot renew the bauxite. That means we cannot renew bauxite, but we can recycle the aluminium of old utensils by melting and reusing it. As you know that, okay, we have the old utensils as it is broken or damaged, we can melt it and we can make a new utensil. So in this way we can recycle some of the non-renewable resources. Resources and development. Natural resources are the basis of development because the agriculture, mining, construction and energy sector depend on them. in this sentence it is said that natural resources are the basis of development. Which is the basis of development? Natural resources are the basis of development because the agriculture, mining, construction and other energy sector depend on them. That means natural resources are the what? Basis of development because all like agriculture, mining, construction and other energy sector depend on natural resources. So, do other sector of the economy. That means for seems that other economic sector also are depending on natural resources. The environment source function is the capacity of the environment to provide these resources. This sentence says that the environment resource function is the capacity of environment to provide these resources. Developmental activities slow down if natural resources are polluted or overexploited and get depleted. Listen carefully. Developmental activities slow down. How? If the natural resources are polluted or they are exploited or they are depleted, then the development activities become slow down. Listen, if the natural resources are polluted or misused or depleted, then the development activities slow down. If we do not prevent the pollution of our atmosphere, rivers and stream, and if we do not use non-renewable resources in a rational manner, we will soon exhaust our natural wealth. That means if you are not preventing or preventing pollution or not protecting our environment, or we can say atmosphere, river, stream, and if you are not using the non-renewable resource properly, then one day it will what? Our natural resource will be completely finished. Listen carefully. If you are not controlling or preventing pollution, if you are not maintaining properly the rivers, ocean, stream, etc., and if you are not using the non-renewable resource properly, then one day the natural resource will be completely finished. We need to adopt a model of development that ensure that our resources remain healthy and available to us in the long term. That's what happened. We need to adopt a model of development. We have to adopt a model of development that to ensure that our resource remains healthy and available to use in the long term. That means all the resource it can be available and we can use for long time. The environment should sustain development and continue to bring us prosperity and happiness over the years. That means through the environment should sustain development. That means we have to protect it, we have to sustain it, we have to take care of it. Then it will bring what? Prosperity and happiness in our life. This is what we call sustainable development. This is called what? Sustainable development. So in this paragraph we learn that natural resources are the basis of development because agriculture, mining, construction and other activities what depend on this natural resource. In the same time some other economic sector also are depending upon these natural resources. Next, the development activities will be slowed down if you do not protect and you do not control the pollution. Development activities slow down if the natural resources are polluted or over exploited. That means if the natural resources are exploited and depleted, then development activities will be slowed down. That's why we have to prevent the pollution or we have to control pollution of our atmosphere, river, stream, and if you are not using the non-renewable resource properly, next it will be completely finished one day. That's why we have to adopt a model or we have to find out a solution to ensure that our resources remain healthy and available for the long time. We have to make some rule or we have to adopt some practice that our resources can be stay healthy and we can use them for the long time. Next, the environment should be sustained. or it's have to be take care and protect properly, then it will bring what? Happiness, prosperity in our year. So this is called what? Sustainable development. Next paragraph. There is no necessary conflict or contradiction between development and environment. So in this paragraph it says that there is no necessary conflict and contradiction between development and environment. We can have development while protecting and enriching our environment. So how can we have development? We can have development while protecting and enriching our environment. That means through protecting and enriching our environment, we can have the development. We should not cause permanent damage to our resources in the pursuit of development. That means as we are in the pursuit of development, we should not damage or cause permanent damage to our resources. That means as we are in the process of development, we should not cause permanent damage to our resource. Next, if we understand our environment better, we can manage development in sustainable way. That means if we are understanding our environment in a better way, then we can manage our development in a sustainable way. Environmental scientists have developed the concept of purification capacity or sinking capacity. So environmental scientists, they have developed a concept called what? Purification capacity or sinking capacity, which simply means that environment has the capacity to contain pollution up to a certain extent. According to the purification capacity or sinking capacity, it is says that environment has the capacity to contain pollution up to a certain context. For example, if you throw household waste into a river, plants and animals living in the river consume this waste. So household activities as we are throwing into the rivers. So what happened? Plants and animals living in the river consume this waste. So as we are throwing the waste material into the rivers, there are plants and animals living in the river, they consume this waste. The water then remain fit for the consumption. Listen carefully. The water then remain fit for the consumption. However, if you throw excessive waste in the rivers, the waste cannot be fully consumed by them. Listen carefully. Purification capacity, or we can sinking capacity. It means that environment has the capacity to control the pollution, but in a certain extent. For example, if you are throwing the household waste into river, plants and animals living in the river, they can consume the waste, but you are throwing an excessive amount of the waste, then the water water remains. However, if you throw excessive waste into the river, the waste cannot be fully consumed by this organism. So in this paragraph we will learn that there is no conflict or contradiction between development and environment. We can have the development while protecting and enriching our environment. That means if we are protecting and enriching our environment, then we can have the development. We should not cause permanent damage to our resource as we are in the process of development. If you understand our environment better, then we can manage our development in a sustainable way. So according to this environmental scientist, they have developed a concept called purification capacity and sink capacity, which simply means that environment has the capacity to contain pollution up to a certain extent. For example, if you are throwing the household waste into rivers, plants and animals live in rivers, they consume it. But if you are throwing excessive of this household waste or other things, then they cannot consume. Next paragraph. The river soon turns into a polluted drain. That means if you are throwing more and more or excessive waste material into river, then the river turns into a polluted drain. Today, most of the rivers on which our prominent cities are situated are open gutters. If we talk about the most of the rivers which are available or situated in the prominent cities of India, they are now what? Now they are gutters. The pollution doesn't end here. That means the pollution is not ending here. Cities also discharge chemicals that rivers cannot digest. We know that in cities they discharge chemicals that rivers cannot digest. Detergent soap waste is one such example. We know that almost all we are using detergent soap. This is one of the example. It remains in the water and flows out of the sea, polluting it. This detergent soap, it remain in the waters. It flows out of the sea, polluting it. So in this paragraph, we will learn that if we are discharging excessive pollution to the rivers soon turns into the polluted rain. Today, most of the rivers which are located and situated in the prominent cities are now changed into gutters. Pollution doesn't end here. That means pollution is not ending here. Nowadays, cities and countries, they are discharging chemical that river cannot digest. Example, detergent soaps waste is that best example. It remains in the water and flow into the seas by polluting it. Next paragraph. In village, people burn wood in stoves, but the volume of smoke emitted by stoves is below the renewable limit of the atmosphere. We know that in village, people burn wood in stove, but the volume of smoke emitted by a stove is below the renewable limit of the atmosphere. There are some people they are burning wood in the village, and some people they use what? Stove for making food. So the smoke which is released from the stove, that is what? Below the renewable limit of the atmosphere. That means atmosphere cannot renew that smoke. On the other hand, the smoke released from factory, chimney in industrial complex is above this limit. In the same time, if you take the example of the industry, from the chimney, we know that the polluted smoke is released from the industry that is above the limitation of the renewable. That means atmosphere cannot renew the smoke. That is why factories pollute the atmosphere. That's why factory or industry pollute the atmosphere. We can prevent this pollution if you control smoke emission to below the renewable limit. That means we can control or we can prevent. How? If we are polluting or discharging less amount of the smoke which atmosphere can renew. So in this paragraph we will learn that in village people use firewood for preparing food and stove for preparing food. But the smoke which is released from the stove, it is beyond the limitation of atmosphere. That means atmosphere cannot renew the smoke. On the other hand, we know that from the industry and factories, they release the smoke from the chimney. That is also what? Beyond the limit of atmosphere. That means atmosphere cannot renew the smoke. So that's why we know that factory and industry, those who mostly pollute the atmosphere. We can prevent this and we can control this. How? If you release the less amount of smoke to the atmosphere, then atmosphere can easily renew it. Next paragraph. Sink capacity is the capacity of the environment to absorb pollutants. When the volume of waste exceeds the sink capacity, the environment suffers long-term damage. So what is sink capacity? Sink capacity is the capacity of the environment to absorb pollutants. That means whatever the pollution take place, the sink capacity what happen? They absorb or they renew it. But when the volume of waste exceed the sink capacity, the environment suffers long damage. But if the pollution is more than the sink capacity, then the environment has to suffer for the long damage. Let's look at some of the example. Current data on groundwater level in the India indicate that the groundwater reserves in many parts of the country are severely undertreated because of over-exploitation. If we talk about this current data of this underground water, so many part of our country, the underground water is what? Over-exploited, and it is decreasing. We are extracting more water than is being recharged. That means in compared to the recharge, we are extracting more water. As a result, the water table in about 300 districts in the country has dropped by much as 4 meters. That means because of this reason, that means in compare recharging, we are extracting more water. That's why almost 300 districts of our country, the groundwater level has been decreased up to 4 meters. This is a danger signal. This is a danger signal. We use huge quantities of groundwater for irrigation in agriculture prosperous Punjab and western Uttar Pradesh, the Rocky Plateau region of central and south India and some coastal areas. What happened? We are using large quantity of groundwater for the irrigation for agricultural prosper where like a Punjab, Uttar Pradesh and other southern part of India. Our fast growing cities and towns also use groundwater. Not only that, fast growing cities and towns, they also using groundwater. This kind of indiscriminate exploitation will deplete our groundwater reserves and lower the water table. So if you are using such exploitative way, then what happens? The groundwater level will be soon decrease. Example 2. Endosulfan is a striking example of how a chemical pesticide can adversely affect our environment. There is a chemical called endosulfan. It is an example that how it affect on environment. In 1976, the government Ariel sprayed endosulfan over 15,000 acres of cashew to prevent pest attack. In the year of 1970, government sprayed this endosulfan over how many? 15,000 acres of cashew nut field to kill the pest or insect. This was in Kasaragod district of North Kerala. It was in Kasaragod district of North Kerala. This aerial spraying continued every for 25 years. This spraying of this endosulfan was continued for 25 years in Kasaragod district of Kerala. This pesticide barely affect the air, water and environment. Because of the spraying of this endosulfan pesticide, it barely affect the environment like air, water and environment. People living 11 panchayats face severe health problems. That means those who are living within this 15,000 acres of land, almost 11 panchayats people, they severely affected of health problem. Especially the farm laborers, that means those who are working in the farm, they affected severely. The population of fish, insect, cows, crows and other birds fell drastically in affected region. That means in that affected region, that means the number of fish, insect, crows and other birds drastically fall. It took a court order for few years ago to discontinue endosulfan spraying. That means after the court order, they stopped not to spraying this endosulfan. The government is now paying compensation to the affected people. That means those who are affected, to them now government is paying a compensation. So in this example, we learn that in the year of 1976, endosulfan was a chemical which is sprayed over 15,000 acres of cashew field in Kasaragod district of Kerala. Because it was continued for 25 years, because of that the environment was polluted, like air, water, everything was polluted, and people living in 11 panchayats were faced severely of this endosulfan chemical, especially the labor. It also says that the population of fish, insect, crows, and other birds fell drastically in the affected region. And it says that okay, many people were what affected by this, and we can see this example of this picture. So now court took a order for last few years to discontinue spraying this endosulfan. So the government is now paying compensation for the people those who are affected by this district or in this 11 panchayat. Resource management. We need to plan the utilization of our natural resources to maintain the ecological balance. That means we need to plan the utilization of our natural resources to maintain the ecological balance. To maintain the ecological balance, we have to plan how to use the natural resource. This means meeting our current requirements and conserving natural resources for our future. So what does it mean? That means we have to meet or we have to use this current resource. In the same time, we have to use them or we can conserve them or we can save them for our future. We can adopt the following measure to achieve this balance. To achieve this balance, we can follow the following measures. First one, focus on alternative resources. We can replace resources that cause high level of pollution with alternative resources. That means there are some resources which are causing high level of pollution. So because of them, we can use them what? Alternative resources. For example, we can avoid the use of coal as far as possible and use natural gas instead. If you take the example, that means in place of using coal, we can use natural gas instead. We can also make greater use of solar energy and wind power to ensure long-term energy availability. That means in the same time we can also use what? Use of solar energy and wind power energy. In addition, we can give incentives and develop system to promote such alternative energy sources. In same time, what happen? In addition, we can give what? Incentives and develop system to promote such alternate energy resource. So in this point, we'll learn that focus on alternative resource. That means we can replace, okay, there are so much of resources which are much polluting. So in place of them, we can use alternative resource. We can pollute less amount. For example, in place of coal, which is polluting or what releasing more smoke, we can use what? Natural gas instead. In the same time, we can use natural solar energy and wind power energy. So in this way, we can use the alternative resource to maintain pollution. Second point, implementation of pollution control laws. The government has enacted many environment-related laws and set environmental standards to achieve this goal. That means implementation of pollution control laws. Because of that, government has enacted many environment-related laws and set environmental standards to achieve this goal. What is now required is strict implementation and observation of these laws and standards. That means not to pollute the environment, government has set many laws and regulation, but the thing what we have to do is that we have to strictly follow that one and we have to strictly apply that one. For example, waste should be segregate and recycle. That means all the wastes, it has to be what? Recycled. Second, installing pollution control equipment should be mandatory for the industry. That means in the industry, there should be install a pollution-free equipment. Third, government should establish waste treatment facilities in every region. In every region, government has to establish waste treatment facilities. Next, industries using dangerous pollutants such as mercury, chromium, etc. should monitor to control their emission. That means there are industry, those are using what? Dangerous pollutant. example mercury and chromium, they have to monitor and control their emission, or before emitting the smoke to the environment or water to the environment, they have to treat them properly and they have to release to environment. Third, equitable utilization of resource. Equitable utilization of resource. We live in a consumer age where people aspire for physical comforts. That means we are living in a society where people what consume the resource for what? Physical comfort. However, a small segment of the population use a disproportionately large share of natural resource for its own comfort. That means a small or the amount of people or the proportion of people, they use what? A large number of natural resource for their comfort. We need the resource for our planet Earth to provide this level of comfort to everyone. That means we want the resource in our planet that the Earth has to provide the level of comfort for everyone, not only for us. That's why Gandhiji said that the world has enough for everyone's need. In this world, okay, whatever things are there, it is enough for everyone, but not enough for anyone's greed. That means if anyone become greedy and miser, it is not enough for them. So every one of us needs to consider how we can rationally use resources and products. That's why as human being, we have to think that how the resource can be used rationally, properly, and how everyone can get benefit and equal benefit of the resource. Next is new opportunities and challenge in resource management, a case study. So let's talk about new opportunities and challenges in resource management. Let's have a case study and incident. Indira Gandhi Canal command area. This canal starts from the Harike Barrage in Punjab. This canal is started from Harike Barrage in Punjab. It crossed the Thar Desert and flow parallel to the Pakistan border. It is going what? Throughout the Thar Desert and reached to Pakistan border. The length of its main canal is about 650 km. The length of this canal is how much? 650 km. If the feeder and distributary canals are included, the total length of canal system is about 9,060 km. But if you are feeder, that means small, or the branches of canal will be included to it, then the total length of the canal will be almost 9,060 km. The estimate irrigated area is about 20 lakh hectares. That means through this canal 20 lakh hectares lands are irrigated. This irrigated area is the command area. So this irrigated area is called what? The command area. So all of us, we know that Thar Desert, it is completely white desert, there is no rainfall and very difficult to do the cultivation. But through the help of this Indira Gandhi Canal command, so they have irrigated almost how much? 20 lakh hectares area. Next is development work. Irrigation in phase 1 in the command area began in the year of 1960. Which command area? This Thar Desert area. So they start the work irrigation in the year of 1960 in the first phase, and second phase was in the year of 1918. The canal transferred the desert into green and moist area. Because of this canal, what happened? Now this desert is now transferred into a green and moist area. This arrested soil erosion. Because of this canal, what happened? Now there is no soil erosion. Afforestation and pasture development were also taken up. That means they also start what? Planting the forest and green pasture work is taken place in that area. When farmers earlier grew chana, bajra and jowar, intensive irrigation allowed them to cultivate wheat and cotton. That means in that area, farmer earlier they used to grow chana, bajra and jowar, but because of this irrigation, now they are cultivating wheat and cotton. Productivity increased manifold. That means the production is what? Increasing into manifold. However, excessive irrigation and intensive agriculture over the year led to problems such as waterlogging and increased salinity. That means because of the irrigation, because of the excessive irrigation, the agriculture of that area what led to or eradicate the problem of waterlogging in that area. Through the help of this excessive irrigation, the area which was desert and there was no any cultivation, it helped to cultivate and produce in manifold in the same time availability of water over there.